Welcome to the latest episode of Keynote 180 at Leader Series, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have with us Miss Eileen Shafer. She is the district superintendent in New Jersey's third largest school district in the city of Paterson. Now, in the spirit of honest and full disclosure, let me mention that I have served in this district as an administrator for many, many years. And still, Ms. Shafer, your acceptance of my invitation for this broad-range interview shows that you are open to candid conversations about the challenges this district is facing. You're open to candid questions about your leadership, and that you are ready to own up to the decisions taken under your leadership. So let's begin, shall we?
Yes.
Good. My first question is about the impact of the budgetary shortfall on the 5-year strategic plan and the district's assumption of local control. And I know you explained the impact of the budgetary constraints on the district operations umpteen number of times. So what's the latest in terms of that shortfall?
Well, as you know, this year we had to RIF 252 individuals from the district. That included supervisors, vice principals, teachers, substance awareness coordinators, central office administrators. And that will certainly have an impact on our strategic plan because we have a new strategic plan starting July 2019 to 2024. And our first goal of our strategic plan is teaching and learning. And so when you eliminate positions, you certainly are going to impact teaching and learning. So, for example, our supervisors and our vice principals complete walkthroughs on a daily basis as well as observations. Those walkthroughs and observations provide feedback to the teachers so that they can increase their teaching so that our students can learn. So we are certainly, and they also coach. They coach the teachers. So we're certainly going to see an impact there. In addition to that, there are some budget requirements that we have in order for our students to get a thorough and efficient education. And unfortunately, we are not going to be able to deliver those goods. So, for example, we have a textbook plan where we need new textbooks in certain areas. In other areas, we're using online textbooks, but there are some that we need the actual textbook. And we're not able to implement our textbook plan. So certainly the impact of the budget has a tremendous impact on teaching and learning. And we have applied for emergency aid where we have included the staff that we lost as well as textbooks and some other resources that we need for our students. But at the same time, we must continue to educate our children, and we are planning to do that. We had a week last week of an administrative institute where we rolled out our new initiatives and we rolled out how we're going to do business. And so we're in our second year of transition to local control, and we are going to make sure that this community has a say in the educational plan of the district moving forward as we are successful in our second year of transition. So in September of 2020, the Commissioner of Education will make a decision about whether or not Paterson is ready. And we are going to continue to prepare and be ready.
So what part of, specific parts of the 2020 school year plan will need to be cut back due to this shortfall?
There are some intervention programs that we're not going to be able to deliver. We had increased our passing rate from 60 to 63, and we had all intentions of increasing it to 67. But without those supports for the children, we are not going to increase it to 67. We're going to put a hold on it because I do not want to set children up to fail. And unless we have those supports, we're not going to be able to increase that rate as much as I would like to. So there are some specific programs and supports and interventions for students that we are not going to be able to deliver. as well as we're going to see increased class sizes. When you eliminate positions, the class sizes increase.
But did you see these foresee these fiscal challenges before assuming local control of the district from the state?
Yeah, we kind of knew that eventually we were going to not get, we haven't received adequate funding for a very long time. Over the past administration in Trenton, we lost $280 million from being funded adequately. So when you're losing $280 million, it has a sustainable impact as we move forward. Now, last year, Governor Murphy gave us $20 million, and that $20 million went to doing things that we haven't been able to do in this district, like a full-blown elementary art and music program. We have not had that since the state took over 29 years ago. We now had that program. This year, we received $13 million from the state, and that $13 million went to fund the additional money we needed for charter schools and for the Technical Institute. So it only left us with $2 million for that would stay in the district, and so that's why we had this shortfall. We did go and we spoke at the Senate hearing as well as the Assembly hearing, and I do believe that the folks listened to us and they understood. So I have to remain hopeful that with the emergency aid that we will get some additional funding.
And I think in the midst of all this, the shortfall, the conversations and the deliberation on this, on the evening of March 14th, 2019, you had a meeting at Eastside High School as part of your 5-year strategic planning outreach. A lot of challenges were raised at that meeting by the stakeholders. How many of those challenges are being actively addressed as a result of these deliberations? So, if you like, I can share with you some of those challenges that were raised at that meeting, but I'm sure you know those already.
Sure. So when we went out for the 5-year strategic plan, we wanted to make sure that the challenges that were brought to our attention were addressed through the 5-year strategic plan. And so those challenges came under 4 areas: teaching and learning, facilities, social emotional learning, and communications. And so when we put our 5-year strategic plan together, we grouped them under those 4 areas. And we also, at that meeting, if you recall, we also talked about the strengths of the district. So, as we advanced the 5-year strategic plan, and that was the first of 3 meetings with the community and all the stakeholders to develop the plan, under the 4 categories, we addressed as many challenges as we possibly could.
I think some of the challenges included like the money going out to charter schools. Do you want to expand on that? How is it impacting the district?
Well, the money going out to the charter schools is a formula that is given to us by the state. They're all of our children, so the money follows the children. And so, for the most part, we are not able at this time to remediate what goes out. That is dictated to us by the state based on the enrollment and the children from our district that go to charter schools.
And to put a brighter light on this, in spite of all these challenges, what programs or outcomes would you highlight as evidence of success in the district?
So right now we have a lot of successes going on. Last week I went to the closing of the 2-week summer bridge program at Panther Academy, which is where our P-TECH program is. P-TECH is a grant that came from the Department of Education, where we have 60 freshmen entering P-TECH at Panther Academy. Panther Academy is across the street from Passaic County Community College. Those freshmen will have an opportunity over the next 4 to 6 years to earn an associate's degree at no charge to their families, which is a great opportunity. And the associate's degree will be in applied science. So that is a great opportunity for our children to have an opportunity to go to college at the same time that they're earning their high school diploma. The professors will be coming over to Panther, as well as the students will be going to the college campus. So that certainly is a great opportunity for our students. In addition to P-TECH, we also have our AP scores. Our AP scores this year doubled the amount of students receiving a 3 or higher. Now, we have increased the number of courses in advanced placement, so that was one. We also increased the number of teachers being trained. And then our guidance counselors, as well as our teachers, had a campaign where they were talking to the high school students and letting them know about advanced placement courses, and that they saw in the students the opportunity for them to take the courses. So we had a large number of high school students take the advanced placement courses. As that number goes up, the number of students receiving a 3 or higher increased. Now, is there a balance? Not yet. So we increased the number of students getting a 3 or higher, but we have a couple hundred students taking advanced placement courses. So eventually that we're hoping that that's going to level off. We'll have more students receiving a 3 or higher. But the first step is getting students excited about being in an advanced placement course. And so the enrollment has increased tremendously. Now the students need to understand the rigor of those courses. And at this point, doubling the number of students that receive the 3 is great, but we have a lot of work to do to balance off the number of students registered for the course and the number getting 3 or higher.
Great. And now the next question is actually my area of great interest for me too. As part of your 3D plan, the district has adopted social emotional learning as one of the goals.
Yes.
Why did we need this, and what do you want to achieve with this?
So, unfortunately, social emotional learning is a need throughout the country. Many of our students across the country are coming to school with some social and emotional issues. Many of our students come to school who have some responsibilities that are adult responsibilities. By that I mean they might be responsible for younger siblings, getting them up and dressed and ready to go to school, bringing them to school, watching them after school. Some of our students are responsible for making the meals at home and taking care of the home while parents are working 2 and 3 jobs. So there is a lot of stress on our students that are coming to school. And so we have had crisis throughout the past couple of years with our children who need to get immediate medical and psychological help. And so we need to address that. When we see a need of our students and families, we try to address it as soon as possible. And so last year we had over 300 staff members trained in social emotional learning. We also had a presentation at our Administrators Institute last week. And as we move forward, it is one of our goal areas in our 5-year strategic plan. And we take it very seriously. I mean, we are educating the whole child, which means their social and emotional and mental health is just as important as academic performance.
And how would you know? Have you decided on the indicators that would tell that SEL implementation is working?
Well, we have done a tremendous amount of training for teachers all last year. We have a checklist for teachers to review if they see a child who is in need. And our next step now is to train a group of individuals at the building level as well as central office to be trainers so that we can do our own training. This is a plan for the next 5 years. And as we roll it out, we will be getting more and more knowledge, training, and confidence about the impact that this is going to have on student performance. We know that we must educate the whole child, but until we address some of their social and emotional needs, we are not going to have their full attention for them to focus on academics.
Oh, okay. My next question is regarding the summer reorganization. And this question is regarding the district and school leadership reorg during the summer. Can you walk us through the decision-making process in deciding that this assistant superintendent will best suit this unit or this school, or this principal will be best suited for this school? If you can walk us through the decision-making process that went through your mind in the summer reorganization in placing these leaders in certain positions for their units.
Sure. So every year, districts go through a reorganization process. And we take a look at the needs of the district and what is it that we can pull on certain individuals' strengths to help us where we may be having a problematic area. So I meet with my cabinet level administrators. We looked at last year's organizational structure, and then we looked at where do we need to identify cabinet level administrator strengths where we have a need, and that's what we did. So whenever you have a reorganization, you look at the needs of the district, you look at the strengths of your administration, and you make the changes accordingly. And that's what we did. And what we also did this year that we haven't done before is that we added school leadership responsibilities under the assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction. We have not done that in the past. And our assistant superintendents have anywhere from 19 schools each, which is a lot of schools. So what we did was we looked at what are the needs, who has the strengths, and then how can we give some relief so that we can ensure that this reorganization is going to work. And that's pretty much what we did. It is a process that takes a couple of months. We start in the spring, and it includes the cabinet level administrators.
Now, since most high schools are thematic or vocational, I'm sorry, go ahead.
One other thing, it also includes our Board of Education, because as our Board of Education is transitioning to local control, it has to be approved and was approved back in June by our Board of Education.
Now, since most high schools are thematic or vocational in spirit and in focus, can you give a few examples where the school leaders have been assigned for their expertise and strengths to lead those schools?
So we have a supervisor of career technical experience who is overseeing all of the themes at the high schools. And so we have added this year P-TECH at Panther, and we have also added certification programs where students, last year we added 6, this year we're adding 5 more, where students are able to go to school and work on getting a certification at the conclusion of their coursework. That will make our students more competitive than with others. And so what we've done is expand opportunities for students to be successful. This year, as one of the goals of the district, we are looking at all of the themes at the high school level to see what's working, how can we give students internships and practical experiences, as well as are we addressing all the needs of the students, or do we need to add something or delete something? This will be a year-long process, and in the spring of 2020, there will be a presentation to the board as to what our findings are.
Great. Now, for the next question, I would request you to be as least political you can be, because this has something to do with your relationship with the board. Share with us some of your frustrations with the machinations of the board processing. Give us a few examples where you feel stymied or delayed due to the board's involvement in planning and in decision making.
Unfortunately, I don't have any of those. We have, the board is working very hard with the administration to ensure that we get local control. When the community, and I've been here the entire time the board has been under state control, and so the board clearly understands. Some of the board members were students when the state took over. Some of those board members didn't have art and music at the elementary level that I talked about. And when I talk about art and music has a major impact on student achievement. Probably when you and I went to school, we were taught songs to sing, and we went home and sang those songs. Or we made projects and gifts in art class for Mother's Day and Father's Day and holidays and Halloween and all of that. Our students didn't have that opportunity, and some of the board members were students at that time. So they clearly understand the importance and are committed to doing what it takes to get local control. So I'm happy to say I work very hard at building a relationship with the board members, as they do as well. And we have had a good relationship at this point in time, because we're here for two reasons. One, to increase student achievement, and two, to get local control back to the community.
Great. Thank you. And my next question is regarding the employee health benefits. There was some backtracking in employee health benefit provider, you know that.
Yes.
Where do you think, where you can identify the ball was dropped in the process of choosing the right provider in the first place? Or as I understand, there was cost cutting behind the first change of health benefit provider. Did you lose that cost saving in the second change back to Horizon?
So I think what happened was, and I was very sensitive to the needs of the employees in the district. I held a meeting back in October where countless members came and spoke about some of the problems they were having with the health benefits when we made the change. We went from state health benefits plan to Cigna. And so they came, and I took copious notes of what everyone said, and was putting together Q&A for our staff members to help them navigate this new system. I also was listening very closely to what the needs of the employees were, as well as the union leadership. And we have 7 unions in the district. So I was meeting with them, and I was listening, and also communicating with the Board of Education what the needs were. Both the board and I agreed that the way in which we were moving was not beneficial to our employees. For me, healthy employees mean good teaching and learning going on. And so together between the board and the district, we made a decision to move into the direction of what the employees were asking for. And that's where we are right now. We transitioned in July. Very few problems in the transition, and things right now seem to be moving along for the benefit of the employees.
Good. And I think you touched upon that the well-being of staff, and at the same time, I think with the introduction of social emotional learning, is there a component that you see being implemented or being emphasized with regards to the mental well-being of staff with regards to social emotional learning? Because as I understand that for an effective social emotional learning program, it has to be an organization-wide implementation, and that actually includes parents too. So where do we stand in terms of the social emotional component and implementation of it, for adult stakeholders in the district?
So, like I said back last week with the Administrators Institute, we did have a session for about 2 hours, and we went through ourselves some mindfulness activities that can be done with adults when the principals go back into their buildings. In addition to that, we had over 300 staff members who received the training where there were also activities that they went through during the training for themselves. And we are also going to add a parent component. As you know, we have Parent University where we roll out many topics to parents once we understand what the needs are. And we have needs assessment from the parents, and that's how we put the Parent University together. So social emotional learning will be part of the Parent University.
Great. And I think you also briefly touch upon the CTE and vocational program in one of your answers, because the importance of CTE and vocational programs, I wanted to give it its own question. So one of this goal is to expand the vocational programs offerings. But at the same time, vocational teaching staff positions have been left, either cut or left vacant for many years. How can you describe this divergence between what is your vision and what is being practiced?
So we have a long-range plan, and what we do is we plan the year prior to any implementation. So last year when I was meeting in my roundtables with parents, which I meet with them quarterly, parents did bring up that not all students are going to go to college, but some of our students need vocational training. And so right now, we don't have the space for vocational education. But in 2 years, when the new Don Bosco Union Avenue School, middle school is complete, the students who are at Paterson Catholic right now will be leaving and going to the new school. That will leave Paterson Catholic vacant. And so we are planning to bring back some vocational programs. We are not sure yet. We're in the planning stage where they will be. But what Paterson Catholic offers us is available space, either to move programs from our high schools into Paterson Catholic for availability in the high schools for vocational ed, or to put vocational ed in Paterson Catholic. And so that decision has not been made where they're going to be located. And we are in the planning stage of looking at what will the cost be, what are the staff needs, and what are the students looking for when it comes to vocational education. So that is in the planning stage.
Thank you. The next question is regarding the instructional and information technology infrastructure and delivery. Of late, we have seen data breaches, ransom attacks, and constant stream of phishing attacks on the district technology, hardware, and software. What is stopping you from using the cloud-based technology for communication, data keeping, and the delivery of instruction for learning management systems? Why are we using cloud-based technology for that?
So right now, it appears there was a data incident. I'm not going to call it anything more than that. And we have experts from the outside who are looking into that data incident and who are providing us with updates. So because it is a secure incident that we're looking into, I'd really rather not
expand on that
at this point.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. So the next question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Technology. We have at the high school level now one-to-one devices, and we are looking around mid-year to provide the high school students the opportunity to take those devices home. And then we are going to roll out the middle school one-to-one devices. So right now we're upgrading the infrastructure at each of the schools to ensure that when we do roll out the one-to-one devices in the middle school, that the infrastructure at all of the schools are able to maintain the one-to-one devices. So that'll be coming up over the next 6 months.
All right. The next question is regarding out-of-school suspensions. What changes would you like to see in the district's out-of-school suspension program?
So we are looking at developing a out-of-school suspension hub. I am a firm believer that out-of-school suspension leaves students, one, without enough education during the time that they're out, and it does not provide them with any counseling services, gives them an opportunity to be home, and gives them an opportunity perhaps maybe even to get in additional trouble. What's important to me is for students to understand the behavior that they exhibited that got them out of school suspended. Why is that inappropriate? And what are some other ways they could have handled the situation? I want our students to understand that, having a fight or an altercation is not the only answer to resolving conflict. And the only way that students are going to understand that is if they have one-on-one counseling, group counseling, restorative justice circles, so that they can understand that there is another way for people to get along and for people to resolve conflict. And it doesn't always have to be by the use of your hands. And so that's my main objective. Right now we are in the preliminary stages of putting together a program like that, where we would have it at Silk City Academy. It would be a student center where students in the high school, if they are suspended for 5 or more days, would go to Silk City Academy for the suspension period. They would get 2 hours of academics each day, as well as 2 hours of counseling and restorative justice.
And as a follow-up to this question, when you have full-fledged principals and departments of discipline or operation in some of the high schools, what is the rationale of awarding out-of-school suspensions, especially now that you have that you intend to implement SEL programs in the district?
Well, it's all going to take time, and so we have in-school suspension at the high schools. So what I hope to see, this is a 3-prong approach. We have social emotional learning training going on and identification, so our teachers are more equipped. We have in-school suspension programs, and then we have the out-of-school suspension hub. So with all of that together, what I'm hoping happens is that we decrease the amount of suspensions.
So looking forward, what new or mention-worthy opportunities lie for our students in the coming school year that you would like them to take advantage of?
So we are moving into our second year of our Wonders Reading Program. The first year, we were able to increase in grades K to 5 by 19% the number of students reading on grade level. And so I want to continue that, implement the Wonders program with fidelity across the board, and see the number of students reading on grade level increasing. Everyone knows that by 3rd grade, if you're not able to read on grade level, there are disadvantages as you move through your educational journey. So we are pushing very hard for students to read on grade level. We have the ALEX math intervention program that was implemented at the high school level last year, and we are now going to implement it at the middle school level this year. Again, we're pushing for our students to be in advanced placement classes, as well as expanding the opportunities for students to be involved in dual enrollment, where many of our students are getting college credits while they're in high school. So we want to continue to improve family and community engagement, so that parents can be our partners as we move through the 1920 school year, and also as we move into transitioning to local control. So those are a couple of the items that I'm looking to enhance as we move forward.
Ms. Shafer, I'm truly grateful for this candid and detailed conversation. And I'm
Thank
sure,
you.
yes, I'm sure my audience at Keynote 180 and all the district stakeholders the parents, the students, the teachers, and your leadership team would now have a better understanding of the decisions that you have taken in these trying times. I truly appreciate this candid conversation. Do you want to add something else one last time?
I just want to add to the parents. One of our other initiatives that we're rolling out is the parent portal, where parents can have the opportunity at any given time using their cell phone to see whether or not their child was in school on a particular day and how they're performing in all of their courses. So I encourage parents, if you haven't signed up for the parent portal, to please do so. And I also just want to say, I firmly believe that we have the best administrators, staff, teachers in the country, right here in the city of Paterson, that care about our students and want them to be successful. And as we all partner together, including our administrators, our staff, and our parents, partner together, our children will be successful because we have one focus in mind, and that is student achievement, student success. Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck in the new school year. You have a wonderful day, Ms. Shafer.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
My pleasure.